So thank you.
Mike on the internet, of course, to know what his CV. And then I realized that he's a cartoonist, so he actually draws all this stuff and he does copies on the live stuff, the PhD stuff. So when you are procrastinating, you can go and check Marco's drawings.
Thank you for the advertising. So thank you so much. I'm super happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited to be with you all scientists. So here is I try to sketch a very specific and maybe risky account of how chance notions, this cluster of notions like stochasticity, robustness, chanciness, can provide understanding in biological practice. So thank you to Francesca, because all what she said could be viewed as a background of this very specific and maybe abstract talk. So let's see if I can work. Yes. So let's go to the point. For example, how is possible for B lymphocyte to produce such a wide variety of antibodies? The answer is by chance, because we have a lot of evidences concerning the fact that we have a stochastic process concerning the recombination of gene segment that enable to have this very huge, with huge number of antibodies. And if we frame the explanation in terms of explanandum explanans, as Francesca suggests, the explanandum is what I want to explain. The question could be, how can cell produce a virtually infinite number of antibody? And the explanans, the way in which we can explain this, is the random arrangement of antibody gene segment during the development of B lymphocyte that allow us to have different type of antibody. So another example is the SCAM that plays a major role in error varying. As I think you know, the SCAM is a single pass transmembrane protein that is present on the surface of the developing neuron, specifically on the axon. And simplify a little, I'm not super updated concerning this research, but nevertheless, we could say, concerning some papers, maybe not the latest one, that each neuron has its own peculiar and unique GSCAM isoform, which allows it to have unique surface identity. So some paper like this that I work on is underline the importance of the diversity of GSCAM, because it's very important for each neuron, each axon to have its own GSCAM isoform in order to be able to connect to communicate in different way concerning sister dendrite and dendrite from other neuron. Yes. So the point is, since there are many neurons in developing neural system, and since each neuron has its own surface identity, it's necessary for there to be a very large number of GSCAM isoform. So there are a lot of studies that underline the importance of the diversity of GSCAM, and so we can frame the question, where does the diversity of GSCAM isoform originate from? And this author, this is not a very updated paper, answer that is due to mutually exclusive alternative splicing. It is a very specific case of alternative splicing. And so if we frame in our explanandum explanans structure, we can simplify a little, ask where does the diversity of the GSCAM isoform originate from? And the answer, that is very controversial. I know that maybe it's not exactly this, the answer, and maybe the stochastic behavior here can be viewed, as we said, as error, splicing error. I think there will be a talk on this today, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, we can say that from the stochastic behavior of mutually exclusive alternative splicing, we can have this, it allows in part at least, to have this huge diversity of the outcome. So why I propose you these two very textbook explanation, very qualitative and simple explanation, because I would like to focus on this structure, explanand, explanandum, and in both this explanation, we can say that we are looking at causal relations, okay? So even if we could be problematic to say that it's all caused by stochasticity, we can say that part of the cause can be, for example, in the antibody example, the random rearrangement, and in the other, the stochastic behavior of mutually exclusive alternative splicing. And so here, from within the explanandum explanans, we have a causal relation. And this is a causal explanation. And causal explanation is not only a label that we give to biological explanation in order to underline that it's causal, but it's also a very well-studied theory of scientific explanation explored in a philosophical domain. And so this type of explanation is explanatory because it identifies the causal relation between causes and its effect, or at least one of the causes. And this kind of explanation, with also the mechanistic explanation, have been widely discussed in philosophy of biology or philosophy of science more broadly. And for example, concerning the mechanistic explanation, attempts have been made to characterize what is a mechanistic explanation, what are the characteristics that all mechanistic explanations share in order to provide a theory of mechanistic explanation. And one of the paper of some philosopher proposed, talk about mechanism, mechanistic explanation. They start really to molecular biology example of the synapses, and they propose for mechanism. Mechanisms are entities and activities organized such that they are productive of regular changes from set or setup to finish or terminated condition. This is only to say that philosophers try to looking for generalization to have this cluster of, in this case, mechanistic explanation, or in this case, the very definition of mechanism. And other theory, philosophical theory, focus on causal explanations. So, oversimplify a little again, we can say that biological enterprises find out the causal relation between event, and the philosophical enterprise is more studied in the context of theory of scientific explanation, is studying the structure, in this case, biological explanation, identify similarities. So we can have here three levels that we can keep in mind: the phenomenon, the scientific explanation where scientists work providing explanation and providing representation of the phenomena. And the third level, maybe this more abstract level, is the philosophical theorization of that explanation. And concerning stochasticity, we could say, even if, as Francesca said, the experimental, the conceptual work can overlap and can be mixed, but from now, we can say that a biological enterprise is understanding stochastic processes, like of the functionality, to what extent we have stochasticity in certain specific processes, its error can be functional, etc. And my philosophical enterprise, this is my very risky project, is a little bit more abstract, is studying the role of chance notions in the structure of biological explanation, identify similarities. Let's say, so we have if we frame the scientific explanation in terms of explanandum, my inquiry is to say, if we have chance notions, so not stochastic process, really chance notion in the explanants, what could be their epistemic value? And the very starting question of my project is, what epistemic value does chance notion have in biological explanation? And the challenge of my project, that maybe is a bit abstract, is to try to propose something different from saying that chance is causal or not causal. Let's see. Again, many biological papers is often claimed that biological variability is possible due to various forms of stochasticity in biological processes. Also, very recent review think about, for example, noise as its functionality is essential element for variation and variability. So let's take this toy explanation. Stochastic gene expression enables variability in cells. It could be controversial because there are some elements that we should define before going ahead. But for now, for us, it's worked like that. If we frame this in the explanans and explanandus structure, I can explain the variability in cell in part with the fact that gene expression is stochastic. But even here, we are again in this causal relation, and we can say that this is a causal explanation in which variability of cell is explained by the fact that stochastic gene expression is supposed to cause this variability, okay? So, by contrast, my more abstract project is to say, okay, we have this stochastic this notion, this term, this label of stochastic, in this case, stochastic gene expression in the explanans. Can we say something more concerning its epistemic value without enter in the debate concerning causality? If I say, I will show you a Renaissance painting, if we are critics of art or artists, we can already have in mind a lot of information concerning the artistic canon, concerning the period in which all these paintings were made, etc. So even only to say Renaissance painting pop up in your mind a lot of information, and this is kind of a visualization of say, okay, the next painting will be from the Renaissance, and you have already a lot of information about that. And so this is a very toy example to say that the term Renaissance is epistemically full, providing much information without the need for further specification, okay? And this is because in the world of the art, referring to Renaissance evokes a wealth of background knowledge among artists and critics of art. So in the same way, I try to say that chance notions are also epistemically full, as they can provide understanding, not only provide information, but provide understanding that is something more in an original way. So the understanding is a very big topic in philosophy of science. A lot of philosophers try to formalize, to define what understanding means in a like of abstract term. It's kind of grasping, is the high experience, etc. So we are focused on understanding, and my project is to try to argue that chance notions, without the need to specify all the cluster of this that the cluster of this notion can refer to, provides understanding in terms of visualization and abstraction. So I have 2 minutes left, try to go faster. The visualization ability enables the agent to visualize the network of possibility in which the biological system behaves stochasticity. What does it mean? Let's try to go together. Explanation, we have the explanandum, and I said we have a chance notion in the explanans. We have the agent that read, in this case, we are in a reading situation that the agent read this explanation and notice the chance notion, and in this way, she will be enabled to visualize something that is not present in the explanation, but nonetheless is a background knowledge that enables to underline, to imagine the network of possibility that we can have that depend on our knowledge of specific process in question, and all the background knowledge concerning the stochastic behavior, etc. And the ability, and the other part of understanding is this abstraction. The abstraction is the ability to the agent that does not mean to write down all the detailed explanation. We don't need to write all this detail down, because it's sufficient to have chance notions that enable, again, to visualize all these unwritten detail, it is enable us to have abstract explanation. So we have abstraction and visualization, and this is my proposal. To what extent chance, how, as Francesca said, how chance can provide understanding. And of course, this abstraction allows for a more cognitive manageable explanation, to have a more cognitive manageable explanation. We can have also, we can apply this abstract idea with the example that I provide you, assuming that random arrangement can provide us the way to visualize the possibility, in this case is almost infinite possibility of rearrangement, and the way in which these processes of rearrangement of gene segment can behave, and etc. So last point concerning the network possibility is a visualization of network possibility. But what network possibility? And this is very interesting, is a work in progress for me to try to say something concerning the relation between stochasticity and possibilities, because often biologists say that stochasticity drives possibility in the specific sense that stochastic process allow the alternative realization of different biological possibility. But what does it mean that chance drives possibility? What are the nature of this possibility? When we think, when we visualize all this possibility, what kind of possibility we are talking about? Epistemic, only useful in order to understand, to explain, and maybe to predict, or we are talking about also objective possibility? How they can evolve according to our progress in the knowledge of the phenomenon. Maybe the network possibility that we can imagine depend also to the extent to which we can understand the process in question. What could be the epistemic ontological relationship between stochasticity and possibility? And so, conclusion, this proposal was only to underline that maybe chance notion, without referring to causal situation, can provide some understanding and aims to incentive for study and be more careful when confronted with stochastic element, which is often understood as lack of understanding, or just a technical term used in probabilistic frameworks. Thank you so much. 2 minutes.